Speaking legal discussion where he answers a viewer's legal question right here on the air. Will, welcome.
Thank you.
You enjoying the holiday season so far?
Absolutely. Starting to get into it and everything. Got the tree up, lights on the house.
Got it all done? Yeah. Oh, you're above. Yeah, you got it going on.
Almost all the shopping is done. Just one or two little things left.
I'll get around to it, I hope. All right. Let's check out this week's question. I co-signed on my ex's car when we were together, but now we are split, so what should I do? Is there a way to get my name off the loan? And if not, do I have any course of action if she doesn't make her payments? So what say you, Will Worsham?
Well, okay, there's a couple questions there. So let's talk real quick about what's it mean when you sign on a loan, when you co-sign a loan. So normally you go in, you want to borrow money, the bank's either approves you or doesn't approve you. So in a situation where there's a co-signer, what's happened is the lender has said, I don't want to loan them money.
Yeah.
But I'll loan you money if you'll co-sign. So when you co-sign for someone's loan, what you're doing is you're saying, I agree that with my resources and my financial backing, that if they don't make good on that loan, I will. And that's an agreement between you and the lender, you and the bank. So as far as getting your name off that loan, it's highly unlikely a bank's going to want to do that. They only loan the money because you promised that you would repay that if the other person didn't.
It's more between you and the bank than it is you and the other person.
It's not the other person's choice.
Right.
It's the bank's choice or the lender's choice. They're not going to let you off the hook. Why should they? Because they need you there because they didn't think the other person was credit worthy wise enough, if I can maybe make up a word, to want to lend to them. So that's why they had you co-sign.
So what if the ex-wife went in and said, you know, we have split and I think the right thing to do is for me to just have my name on this car? You can't guess what the bank would say, but what might happen in that case?
I really don't think that's going to happen.
Okay.
There's no reason for the bank to give up their security in that situation. Now, what they could do is the primary person on the loan could go get another loan. They could refinance that car. And they could do that with the same bank. They could say, hey, I want to refinance this loan. I want to take this other person off as a co-signer. Is my credit good enough now? And maybe if we've had several years of good payments, we've improved our credit score, that might be a situation where that would be a way, if that person is willing to do that. Now, in these X situations, a lot of times, why should I go to the trouble of doing something like that? You know, it's not affecting them. So, I don't know. But there's no way as a co-signer that you can force your name off.
You can't force your name off. And that doesn't even speak to the question of liability. What liability might be there for him?
Oh, full liability.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, full liability.
That would be a huge concern.
Well, I think that's maybe one thing that people don't understand a lot of times about co-signing loans, whether it be for student loans, home loans, personal loans, anything. I think people have the idea that if you co-sign for a loan, you're just sort of saying, hey, this is a good person, you can trust them.
Yeah, it's not like a reference for a job or something.
It's not a reference at all. It is I promise to repay that loan if they don't.
But if there's an accident in terms of liability and your name's on the car,
what may
be involved there?
Yeah, no, so you're not an owner of the car, you're not on the title, you really don't have any liability from that perspective, from like a negligence action.
Okay, so unless your name is on the title or something, then that's really not something.
And really, even then, it could be questionable.
Could it?
A negligence action applies to the person that committed the negligence unless they did so when acting on the benefit of an employer, say under the respondeat superior doctrine. So that's how, like, if a over-the-road truck driver causes a lawsuit, it's the trucking company that's on the hook because that person is driving for an employer. Just the fact that you have co-signed on a loan, even if you're on the title of that car, you still might not be liable.
What do you need to consider when someone asks you to co-sign? I mean, I know a lot of people have family ask them, very close friends, and you've heard people say, do not lend a friend money because that can just get ugly down the road. How do you say no? What do you really, really need to consider
Well,
here?
all those same considerations as to whether or not you would loan this person money is exactly what you're talking about here. You need to look at the note that you're signing and say, I am able and I am willing to pay this note if they don't. And if the answer to that is no, you shouldn't co-sign the loan. Yeah. Because that's what you're doing. You're saying, I promise I will pay this note if they don't. Now, you may believe that they will, and they may do their best, and they may or they may not. You know, the situation happens here where, you know, maybe they flake out on you. Yeah. Well, you can feel, I know this person well enough, that's not going to happen. What if they die? What if they become unemployed?
Right.
What if they become
Disappear. Who
paralyzed
knows?
and lose their income?
Yeah.
You still have to pay that note. You're still on the hook.
And so you may just have to say, I am not able to do it at this time, and leave it at that. Will Worsham, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
If you have a legal question for Will, email him at wworsham@color10.com, and he'll be happy to answer your question right here on the show. And up next, we're going to go back to the Battlefield Mall for more of the Salvation Army Bucket Blitz. Fill that bucket, everybody. We'll be right back.